He testified before Congress about how to regulate crypto responsibly. 11 months later, he was arrested for the biggest fraud the industry had ever seen. This is the story of Sam Bankman-Fried, the man who convinced the entire world he was different, right up until the moment $8 billion of other people's money simply wasn't there anymore. Start with the image. Rumpled t-shirt, cargo shorts, messy hair. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't look like a Wall Street villain, and that was the whole point. He looked like the smartest kid in the room who genuinely didn't care about money. He talked about something called effective altruism, the idea of earning as much as possible specifically to give it away to the causes that would save the most lives. He slept on a beanbag at the office. He drove a Corolla. Reporters loved him. Regulators trusted him enough to ask his advice on how to write the rules. In 2017, he started a crypto trading firm called Alameda Research. 2 years later, he launched FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange, a place where ordinary people could buy and trade digital coins. The two companies were supposed to be separate. One traded, the other just held everyone else's money safely. Supposed to be. FTX grew unbelievably fast. By 2021, it was valued at $32 billion. Celebrities lined up to endorse it. Tom Brady, Steph Curry. A Super Bowl commercial that told people crypto skepticism was the mistake to avoid, not the safe move to make. Sam Bankman-Fried was the face of it all, the boy genius who'd figured out how to make crypto legitimate. Here's the part almost nobody outside the company understood at the time. FTX and Alameda were never really separate at all. Alameda had a backdoor. It could pull money directly out of FTX's customer accounts. No limit, no questions, whenever it needed cash. In December 2021, an engineer found a bug that made it worse. When a customer withdrew their own funds, the system didn't correctly reduce what Alameda technically owed. The bug sat there, unnoticed, for 6 months, quietly growing the hole. So what was Alameda doing with unlimited access to money that belonged to millions of other people? Investing it, aggressively, in illiquid crypto projects, in venture bets, in things that couldn't be turned back into cash quickly if anyone ever asked for it back. And underneath the whole structure sat something even shakier. Billions of dollars of Alameda's balance sheet wasn't real money at all. It was FTT, a token FTX had invented itself out of nothing, and then assigned a price to. Imagine printing your own monopoly money, deciding it's worth $100 a bill, and then using stacks of it as collateral for real loans. That's close to what was happening. As long as nobody looked too closely, it worked. And for a while, spectacularly, nobody did. November 2nd, 2022. A news outlet called CoinDesk published Alameda's leaked balance sheet. Out of roughly $14 billion in listed assets, a huge portion was FTT, the made-up token. Not cash, not stable, widely traded currency, a coin FTX that had created and could not sell in bulk without crashing its own price. The market noticed immediately. If Alameda's foundation was mostly a token its own sister company printed, what did that say about FTX itself? 4 days later, the CEO of a rival exchange, Binance, announced he was dumping every FTT token his company held. It wasn't necessarily personal. It was just a business reading the room. But the message landed like a lit match. If Binance didn't trust FTT, why would anyone else? Customers panicked. And customers started asking for their money back all at once, the way a bank run has looked for 100 years, just moving at internet speed instead of people lining up on a sidewalk. Caroline Ellison, Alameda's CEO, and also Sam Bankman-Fried's on-and-off girlfriend, tweeted that Alameda had over $10 billion in assets not reflected on the leaked sheet. It was meant to calm people down. It did the opposite. Because it wasn't true, not in any way that mattered. The money customers were asking for wasn't sitting in a vault. Most of it had already been lent out, invested, spent, tied up in bets that couldn't be unwound in a weekend. By November 8th, FTX couldn't cover the withdrawals. Binance briefly considered buying the company outright, took one look at the actual books, and walked away within a day. That's the moment the story stopped being a rumor and became a fact everyone could see happening in real time. November 11th, 2022. Sam Bankman-Fried resigned as CEO. FTX US, and Alameda all filed for bankruptcy on the same day. The company brought in a new CEO to manage the wreckage, a man named John Ray III. If that name sounds familiar, it should. He's the same person who spent years cleaning up after Enron, 21 years apart, two of the biggest corporate collapses in American history, cleaned up by the same guy.
Ray's own words in the bankruptcy filing are still the single most damning review of the company. In over 40 years of legal and restructuring work, he said he had never seen such a complete failure of corporate controls. Never, not once. And this was a man whose last job was untangling Enron. What investigators found once they actually got inside the company was almost too disorganized to be believed. Corporate funds used to buy luxury real estate in the Bahamas. No real accounting department to speak of. Business decisions approved over group chats that later got deleted. Roughly 1 million customers, ordinary people, had trusted this system with their money, and the system had never really been built to protect it in the first place. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't disappear quietly. He gave interviews, he went on podcasts. At one point, he suggested almost casually that a large chunk of the missing money might just turn up eventually, as if $8 billion could simply be misplaced like a set of keys. Prosecutors weren't persuaded. In December 2022, he was arrested in the Bahamas and extradited to the United States to face fraud and conspiracy charges. His own team turned on him fast. Caroline Ellison pleaded guilty. So did Gary Wang, FTX's co-founder and chief technology officer. Both agreed to cooperate with prosecutors, which meant testifying against the man they once trusted enough to run a company for. At trial, Ellison